Let me paint a picture of a tragedy you know all too well. You execute a trade perfectly. The entry is flawless. Within 10 minutes, the market moves in your direction. You are in profit. You see blue numbers on your screen. But instead of feeling confident, you start to panic. The candle flickers. It pulls back by 3 pips. Your heart rate spikes. You stare at that floating profit and a voice in your head screams, "It's going to reverse. Take the money now before the market steals it back." You can't take the pressure. Your finger twitches. You click the mouse and you close the trade manually. You secure a tiny, pathetic 0.5% gain instead of your planned 2% target. You let out a sigh of relief. You feel safe. And then you sit there in absolute horror as the very next candle explodes in your original direction, smashing straight through your take-profit zone without you. You didn't lose money, but you feel like you just got robbed. You feel physically sick. You left massive amounts of money on the table because you were terrified of a microscopic pullback. Today, we are going to cure the disease of the premature exit. Heavily inspired by the psychology of Mark Douglas, we are going to expose exactly why your brain sabotages your winning trades. We will break down the endowment effect, the trauma of past reversals, and the brutal mathematics of why taking profits early is mathematically guaranteeing the death of your account. If you are tired of catching massive moves but only getting paid pennies for them, lock in. Let's get to work. Chapter 1. The illusion of my money. Why do we panic when a trade goes into profit? It all comes down to a psychological glitch called the endowment effect. The moment you see a floating profit of, let's say, $500 on your screen, your brain immediately claims ownership of it. Your brain says, "I have $500. You start mentally spending it. You think about how that $500 is going to pay for your car insurance this month or fund your weekend plans. But here is the brutal reality. Floating profit is not your money. It is the market's money. It does not belong to you until the position is closed at your predefined target. But because your brain has prematurely claimed ownership of that $500, any pullback in the price feels like a literal theft. When the market drops and that $500 turns into $300, your brain triggers the exact same fight or flight response as if someone just reached into your back pocket and stole $200 out of your physical wallet. You panic. You close the trade to protect what is left. To fix this, you have to completely divorce your ego from the floating P&L. You must train your brain to view the open trade not as a bank account, but as an unresolved mathematical equation. The money isn't real until the equation is finished. Stop mentally spending money that the market hasn't officially handed over yet. Chapter 2. The Ghost of Past Trauma. Mark Douglas teaches us that every moment in the market is unique, but your brain refuses to believe that. Why are you so terrified that the market is going to reverse? Because 2 weeks ago, you had a trade that was 1 pip away from hitting your take profit, and then it violently reversed and smashed your stop loss. That event traumatized you. It caused you immense emotional pain. So now, when you are in a new trade and you see a tiny red pullback candle, your brain sounds the alarm. It projects the memory of that past trauma onto the current chart. It says, "Warning, this is exactly what happened 2 weeks ago. Abort the mission." You are not trading the current market reality. You are trading the ghost of a past trade. You must realize that the current 15-minute candle has absolutely nothing to do with the trade you took 2 weeks ago. The institutional buyers and sellers operating in the market right now are completely different people with completely different algorithms. If you let past trauma dictate your current exits, you will never let a trade breathe. You have to consciously remind yourself, this is a new moment. The past does not dictate this outcome. Chapter 3. The Mathematical Death Spiral. Let's step away from psychology for a second and look at the cold, hard mathematics of why closing early will bankrupt you. Your entire trading system is built on risk to reward, R/R. Let's say your system has a 50% win rate and you risk 1% to make 2%, a 1 to 2 R to R. Over 10 trades, you lose 5 trades, minus 5%, and you win 5 trades, plus 10%. You walk away with a highly profitable plus 5% gain. But what happens when the fear takes over? You still take the full 1% loss when you are wrong because your ego refuses to close a loser. But when you are right, you get scared. You close your winners early at 0.5% or 1% instead of letting them hit the 2% target. Now look at the math over those same 10 trades. You lose 5 trades, minus 5%. You win 5 trades, but because you cut them early, you only average a 0.5% gain on them, plus 2.5%. You have a 50% win rate, but you are down 2.5% on your account. By cutting your winners early, you are actively destroying the mathematical edge of your own system. You are doing the absolute worst thing a trader can do. You are minimizing your winners while maximizing your losers. You do not have a strategy problem. You have an execution problem that is mathematically guaranteeing your failure. If you cannot let the math play out to its full target, you should not be clicking the mouse. Chapter 4. The Micromanagement Disease. The primary physical reason you close trades early is because you are micromanaging the position. You take a trade on the 1-hour time frame based on a beautiful high-probability setup. The moment you enter, what do? You instantly drop down to the 1-minute chart and stare at it. The 1-minute chart is pure, unfiltered market noise. It is a chaotic battlefield of high-frequency algorithms fighting over fractions of a pip. When you watch your 1-hour trade on a 1-minute chart, you are subjecting your brain to a terrifying roller coaster of visual volatility. Every single red tick looks like a massive reversal. You are actively torturing yourself. If you place a trade based on the 1-hour chart, the 1-minute chart is completely irrelevant to you. The only thing that matters is how the 1-hour candle closes. Mark Douglas tells us that to trade without fear, we must surrender the need to control the outcome. When you sit there staring at the 1-minute chart, hovering your finger over the close button, you are suffering from the illusion of control. You think that by watching it intensely, you can somehow protect the trade. You can't. The market will do what the market wants to do. Your micromanagement is just a manifestation of your anxiety. Chapter 5. The hands-off protocol. How do we actually fix this behavior? We implement the hands-off protocol. If you are a trader who constantly cuts winners early, your willpower is broken. You cannot trust yourself. Therefore, you must remove yourself from the equation. Step 1. The hard target. When you enter a trade, you must place a hard digital take-profit order in your broker terminal. Do not rely on a mental target. Step 2. The screen blackout. The absolute second your stop loss and take profit are placed, you must walk away from the computer. I am completely serious. Stand up, turn off the monitor, and leave the room. Go to the gym. Go read a book. Go make a meal. Do anything except look at the chart. If you physically cannot see the 1-minute candle pulling back, you cannot have an emotional reaction to it. You force the trade to become binary. It either hits your stop loss or it hits your take profit. There is no middle ground. By removing your ability to intervene, you force the mathematics of your edge to finally play out to its full potential. You will be absolutely shocked at how many trades perfectly hit your take profit zone when you just get out of your own way. Holding a winning trade is infinitely harder than holding a losing trade. When you are losing, your ego feeds you hope. When you are winning, your fear feeds you panic. But if you want to be part of the 10% who survive and thrive in this industry, you have to rewire your brain to accept the risk, trust the probabilities, and let the market pay you what you deserve. Stop claiming floating profit before it's yours. Stop letting the ghost of a past trade dictate your current exit. And most importantly, stop micromanaging your 1-hour setups on the 1-minute chart. Set the target, walk away, Let the math work. If this masterclass finally exposed why you keep leaving money on the table, hit that subscribe button. Join the Gold Standard Markets community. We don't trade with fear here. We execute with precision. Leave a comment below right now. What is the most painful amount of money you ever missed out on because you panic closed a trade 10 minutes too early? Drop the story in the replies. Let's learn from the pain. See you in the next one. Stay disciplined.